Welcome to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina. And for those of you that don't know who we are, Ron and I are the co-founders of the Ridge Project and the co-creators of TYRO.
TYRO is a Latin word which means apprentice, novice, someone learning something new, warrior. And I tell you what, I am so glad to be doing a segment with my lovely lady.
So when we think about a warrior, we're talking about somebody that's fighting for their legacy, someone that's become a leader in their home, their community, and their workplace. See, when Ron and I went through our experience, our prison experience, I guess.
Poverty experience.
Right.
Domestic issues experience.
That's right. We learned a lot about what it meant to build a strong and healthy family. And so now we've taken all the things that we learned, all of the obstacles we've overcome, and we put them into programs called TYRO, and then we also deliver that information over TYRO TV.
So this is really this is an honor for us to be able to do this and give back to what people have poured into us and helped us really understand what it takes to overcome, how do you keep a family together while you're in prison? How do you keep a family together when you're broke? How do you keep a family when all you're doing is living check by check or day by day to where you hope that you got food that you can put on the table?
How do you overcome the separation that prison presents, right? How do you get beyond that and connect your family? How do you face all of the prejudices and all of the angst and the hate that's out there in society? How do you overcome that? And so we're here to share with you how you actually can create a strong, healthy family, successfully re-enter society, and reach your dreams. And so we're glad that you joined us today because we've got a great topic today.
So today we're going to talk about, really, I mean, it could be summed up in never give up, but it's called about falling, right? Or failing, right? But getting back up. Right, and that's key, getting back up. And we want to talk about what does it take? What type of energy or that somebody needs when you get knocked down? How do you get back up? Sometimes you get knocked down so hard that you just want to throw the towel in. You don't want to face anybody no more. Embarrassment has this power to keep people down. Guilt has this power to keep people down, to keeping from succeeding. And we're going to talk about some key principles that can help you face that and recover.
Right. Absolutely, because guess what, guys? No matter how committed you are to overcoming every obstacle, no matter how committed you are to living an honorable, trustworthy life, you're going to fall down. You're going to fail in some way, some manner, some shape. And so first of all, as we talk today, we're going to talk about how you make sure that failure is not final, that you also make sure that failure is not fatal. And then how do you move beyond it? So stay tuned, because when we come back, we're going to share more about failing, but not giving up.
Or failing and getting back up.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions, to own it. You'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we're talking about failing and getting back up. But I think it's a twofold message that we want to talk about today, because it's not only that when we personally fail.
Right. So failure, there's a two-phase failure, right? There's one that is wholly dependent on me, on my choices and my decisions, and I can fail to make the right choice. I can mess up. I can forget things, right? But the other type of failure is things that in my life that I planned on going right, and so my plans fail because there are things outside of my control. And you're going to face both kinds of failure, inside prison, inside the gates, and also as you transition out. There's no getting away from that.
So what are we talking about? We're talking about facing everything and recovering. We're talking about embracing this thing called failure, because it's going to happen, but it's what we do and how we respond to it when it does happen.
Right.
That is key to success.
Right. How strong is your foundation? Because when it comes, it's going to come in like a hurricane, right? And so are you going to be left standing? Or are you going to be crumbled on the floor?
Well, if it's a hurricane, are you going to be swept away with the current?
Oh, that's right.
Right? So we want to help you today. We want to give you some key pointers and really some examples on what we face in society today, what you might face in prison today, that would either determine the course of your life and the course of your children's life for generations to come, based upon how you respond to what's coming at you. You know, one thing we teach in TYROs is the concept called bit, right? And we know in a negative connotation, it's doing time, and we're doing a bit. You know, you put a bit in a horse's mouth, and that's to control the horse when it's acting up, when it's being disobedient.
Just all the time. It's to control the horse, right?
It's to control the horse. But when we're doing a bit inside, the TYROs know that BIT is really, we embraced it as an acronym, Basic Individual Training, BIT, to prepare us so that whether we fail or society fails us or people fail us, how do we respond to those things? Even in a regard where, you know what, this is either going to, what doesn't kill us will make us stronger. So that's what we want to hit on.
Yeah, how do you recover from failures? How do you recover from personal failure? How do you recover from positional or situational failure, right? And so those are two different things, but they are very related because they're all about what do you have? What is at the core of you? What is it you're relying on to get you through, to get you to move beyond whatever failure it is that you have to face? You know, as Ron said earlier, you're going to face failure. It's just part of life. It's part of living. Every single person, every person that is born, every person that has biological parents is going to encounter failure. And you encounter it really early on, right?
Yep.
You think about the first time that you try to roll over is not successful. And so that's how all of life is. It sets you up. You should be being trained to face failure and to overcome failure.
But we're not. We're not. You know, we in fact, a lot of the times, the reason why we do not embrace the failure in all that we're supposed to learn from it is because we take it personal. Right. We take it personal when we fail. We take it personal when others fail in our life and we were expecting things from them. And when we take it personal, we can't grow because now we're stopping progress. We stop thinking. We stop breathing. You know, now it's all about me. So you can't even look past the lesson that you should learn.
Right.
Because now all eyes are, your inward being is, you're so infected by the failure that you haven't embraced it so you can grow from it and learn from it.
And the other side of that is you're so infecting other people by failure, right? Because you're basically saying, get over it. Okay, so what? I made a mistake. Just get beyond it. Oh my gosh. You know what? I said I'm sorry. Just move on. And so you are either being
I've never done that before.
Me either. So you are either being infected, you're infecting yourself, or you're infecting other people, depending on how it is that you are addressing your failure or the failure situation.
You know, when we think about what is it, you know, we think about like an example. Let's just go for Eternal, the guys that are locked up. You know, you go to pro board. Some of you are still seeing the pro board, and say they flop you. Say they give you another nickel, right? Another 5 years. And how do you deal with that type of rejection? And you had your hopes up, and your family was waiting for you, and they come and they slap on you another 5 years, you know, and then you got to go back and you have to process what just happened. Maybe they gave you 10 more years, or maybe the judge, you just got sentenced, or whatever it was that you were not anticipating. You thought for sure you were going to go home. Yeah. You thought for sure this is the next time you go to the pro board. This is your 5th time to the pro board. You thought for sure they were going to let you go, and it didn't happen. You know, how do we cope with such
disappointment, right? That situational failure actually really brings out whatever the internal strength is that you've been building. So if you have not been working on your character and you have not been working on being prepared to face those challenges and overcome when they come, then it's going to knock you out. So what we're talking about today is figuring out, first of all, what situations might you face that you're going to need strength of character and will and determination to overcome. And next, we're going to really be talking about why is it even important to have those things to be able to get up and keep going. And finally, today we're going to be talking about how do you develop those things.
You know, one more thing, Kathy, you said that the example we gave is situational. Yeah. And that's a powerful phrase, situational failures, right? But we also talked about, Kathy mentioned another word, positioning failure. And that would, for example, what that would be like, say you were working really hard to get a promotion. You were working really hard to get a raise. You were working real hard to pass that test and everything, and it failed, or you failed, or whatever happened. Right? How do you respond to that? You worked hard to get the promotion. Do you take it personal? A lot of times we will tend to take it personal and think that it's all about me. But maybe They seen something that we didn't see, but we still take it personal. And now we exemplify bitterness. We exemplify selfishness. We exemplify the attributes of maybe that demonstrated maybe we weren't ready for that promotion.
Right.
And they saw something in us that we couldn't see.
Right. And it's so easy to let failure, and the reason we're talking about this is that we've seen this over and over and over and over again. Dad, it is so easy to let failure trip you up and move you out of the cycle of self-improvement and kick you back into the cycle of self-destruction. So stay tuned. We're going to talk more about why it's so important to be ready to face obstacles when we come back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Playing catch, basketball, laughing, and enjoying each other's company. These are all normal things on the outside, but many times are missed in a visitation setting. TYRO Dads brings the same fun experience to the inside through Family Days. As a TYRO Dad, you have the opportunity to participate in this fantastic event. Family Day is designed to allow fathers and families to engage with each other through activities designed to stimulate communication, learning, and play. Family Days will not only be a highlight for you, but for your children as well. The Ridge Project has strategically developed Family Day as an opportunity to help you connect with your child throughout your separation and help both of you develop skills to continue building your relationship when you return home.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we're talking about failing but getting back up.
Ooh-wee.
You know, and that's key.
Deal.
You know, we left off that last segment about talking about situational failure and position failure. Mm-hmm. And why is this important? Because I think about the movie Cinderella Man, right? And I think about there's a segment in there, if you guys remember this movie Cinderella, based upon a true story about this boxer back in the 1920s when the Great Depression was happening and people were eating, for dinner, they were having broth, right? Watered down soup. That was their meal. That was the best they could do.
Maybe a little tiny piece of potato.
Yeah, so his hustle was he was a professional boxer, right? And then it came down, he was in a fight when he broke both of his hands in a match. Well, he continued to fight, but they caught on to what was happening to him, so they removed his license, right? And if you remember the scene, do you remember the scene when he was in the back alley or in the back of that building, and he was talking to the promoter, the guy who issues the license, and they were taken away, and he was begging, please don't take it from me. I need this. This is my livelihood. And the owner said, I'm so sorry. You can't fight. Your hands. You can't do this anymore. But can you remember that scene? And what happened?
Do, but I'm thinking of a completely different example of what I think was a prime example of when you face failure, which is I'm thinking of a situational failure,
right?
And how do you respond? So just like Cinderella Man, who then really went through and was like, he was a man of honor. Even though he begged, he took it with grace and with courage. He was disappointed. He was actually despondent, just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? But he didn't react.
He didn't react, and so what happened afterwards? But go ahead.
Right, is eventually
they needed a boxer to come up. And
his hands were healed.
And so they gave him, time went by. They said, we need somebody to fight this guy. Who are we going to get? He said, well, what about so-and-so? Well, you know what? Let's ask him. Maybe he's ready. Maybe he's come back. But had he responded because of the rejection he faced, and he thought he failed, because he's going to go back and he's going to tell his family, I failed you. Right. I am so sorry. I can't even give you good water to cook tonight with.
But then the whole situation turned back around and he had another opportunity because he did the right thing. He faced the failure and he didn't let it keep him down. He kept moving forward.
He faced it with honor.
It is so important that we learn to do that. And I'm going to use a personal example. So as you're telling that story, I'm thinking, okay, yeah, that's a great story, but that's a movie. Let me tell you about a real story.
Well, it's a true story, honey.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you about a real story
Right.
about somebody I know instead of just a movie, somebody I don't even know, right? And so I know this man. So this man spent about 11 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit, was finally released in the name of justice and mercy. He was home for 6 months. After 6 months, the Court of Appeals overturned his release. And so the judge called and said, okay, you've got 1 week to report back to prison. And so here we are. Here's this situational failure, right? And so this man thought, you know what? I'm home. I'm with my kids. I'm with my family. I finally got everything right. And I'm ready to really make my dreams come true. And boom, this situational bomb blows up, right? that says, I'm going to just totally destroy every dream that you thought that you had for this moment in time is now destroyed. So what do? Right? So those 11 years that he was locked up, he spent time really building his character, becoming a man of honor and integrity. So that when this big test came, he was ready to face it. And he said, you know what? When I do, the right thing is the right thing no matter what the cost. I have to go back into prison, and I have to trust that when we keep fighting for my freedom, eventually my freedom will come and it will be permanent. And who is the person I'm talking about? I hope most of you know who that is, and that's Ron. And so Ron and I, as we face that situation, that real life huge test, to say, okay, here's this huge situation of failure, something we had no power or control over. What are we going to do? Are we just going to lay down and say, that's it, our dreams will never come true? I don't even know why we thought our family could make it through this. I don't even know why we thought we could help other people. Heck no. We just spent 11 years investing in our own personal character so that when that test came, we knew it is hard, it hurts, it felt unfair, it felt unreasonable. I mean, it was devastating, but it didn't take us out.
The thing about that test that Kathy's describing in our personal life, we didn't know that test was coming.
That's right.
Right? But we know now, looking back, wow, the bigger the promotion, the bigger the test. And plus, as we were both training and we were working through our issues and becoming stronger together as a family, we didn't know that what we were being prepared for was for that moment in our lives. You see, that's the key, gentlemen. Listen, dads, you don't know what you're being prepared for when you come home and face whatever you have to face with your family.
Right.
You see, they're going through a test also. They're going through a training ground too. As you do your training, they're doing their training. But if you can become conscious and start training together for something that's coming, you don't know when, you don't know where, you know what it's going to be. But you do know that when it does come, you're going to do the right thing no matter what.
And it won't be once and done, right? That's not the very last test that our family has had to face. That's the biggest one for sure thus far, but it is not the last one. And so as you prepare and you just get the mindset that, you know what? Failing means that I have to find a way to get back up and keep going. And so again, there's 3 different types of failure that you're going to face. Personal failure, things of choices that you've done, things you've done or not done that have created a failure in your life. Number 1, personal. Second one is positional, right? So you're in the wrong position, or you're trying to get into a position and you end up not getting into that position, or you're in the wrong position, right? And the third one is situational. That means that something happens in your life that is out of your control and creates a situation that feels like a failure. So those 3 things, we've got personal, positional, and situational failures. And you have to be prepared because, Dad, you've got people following in your footsteps. If you give up and you lay down and you say, you know what, once and done, I tried, it didn't work, I may as well just lay it down. That is exactly the attitude that your children are going to take on. You cannot afford to give up. Your kids are counting on you, Dad.
You know, when we think about why is this important, and Kathy's hitting on it, Dad, it's about your children. It's about the legacy you're creating. You know, if you threw a towel, I just heard this recently. If you threw a towel, right, in the ocean, you threw one towel in the ocean and you expect it to do something, right? You're going to miss it, right? You're going to miss it. It ain't going to do anything, right? But if you throw one towel and you keep throwing another towel and you keep doing whatever it takes to get the job done, right? In other words, you're going to face one failure after another, but you get back up every time. Why is this important? Because you begin building a new legacy. In the past, if it didn't go our way, we took our basketball and went where?
Home.
We went home with it, but no more. We're not going to take our basketball anymore. In fact, we're going to go get the basketball company and bring them all, right?
That's right.
Whatever
so
it takes.
Stay tuned. We got to take a short break, but when we come back, we're going to tell you how to do it. How do you stay focused? How do you prepare for the big test so that you don't fall down and it doesn't become fatal? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we're talking about failing, but getting back up.
Woo-wee.
Right?
Yeah,
and
that's
what does
a
it
big
take?
deal.
It is a big deal. And I appreciate the three that we're talking about: personal, positional, situational. These are three key points that I hope you wrote them down, because then you'll have a clear understanding of what you're facing and how to overcome it.
Right. Now, there's something I think is worth saying. Have you ever heard people say, just stay down, stay down, stay down? Okay, so that's not true in the way that they're saying it. So there are times that, you know what, every single time you get back up, but just because you're not fighting back doesn't mean that you're staying down, right? There are going to be times that you're going to actually fight back, and there's going to be times that you're just going to stand still, right? And so knowing the difference on when to fight back and when to stand still and wait and continue to build yourself up is really, really going to be vitally important in order for you to be able to overcome every obstacle.
So another way to look at that is if some of you dads out there, maybe you were a boxer when you were younger, right? Or maybe you played football, right? But and you were rehearsing, you were preparing for a battle. You were preparing to get into an arena that there was an opposition that's going to come against you, right? So the opposition's job and your job was, let's see who can knock each other out first, right? If you're in the boxing ring, you're looking for the knockout punch. So you're training to get what?
To get hit.
You're training to get hit.
But we're not talking about physical. When I talk about staying down, when I talk about fighting, I'm not talking about getting in a physical fist fight, right? That's not going to solve
not what we're talking
anything.
about.
That's part of failure. That's the old way that you used to manage things. Now we're talking about when you fight, we mean fighting with honor and integrity. That means fighting with self-control. That means fighting with standing firmly upon what you believe is right and doing the right thing no matter what is happening around you. That's the type of fight we're talking about. We're talking about vocalizing in an appropriate way the way that you feel and making sure that you're following the correct avenues to address a wrong, right?
Now, if you catch yourself being attacked verbally and like that, and then you respond in the same way, well, then you're missing what we're talking about.
Right.
Because if somebody's throwing a temper tantrum and you join in that chorus, now you're throwing a temper tantrum.
Right.
Now there's a big when husband and wives get at it, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Come on,
Right.
domestic
Or friends,
issues,
right?
domestic violence and stuff like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about grown people with little children issues.
Right.
Right. We're talking about you understanding how to activate the principles in your life to overcome what it is you're facing. Failure is not fatal.
So when Ron went back to prison, I continued to fight, right? And I don't mean I showed up and I started punching people and saying, let him out. Like, that's ridiculous, right? But all of you have probably done that at some point, has done some crazy, stupid fist fight that you knew wasn't going to solve anything. But my fight was, you know what? I'm going to continue to fight for my family, keep my family connected, continue to do the right thing, continue to build a solid foundation so that when Ron comes home, we are positioned for success, right? And that's your job, Dad, is to position your family for success. And so we're going to give you 3 key points, 3 things that you can begin to do right now. Actually 4, if you count fight. Number 1 is fight, but fight the right way.
And we're not talking about verbal abuse. We're not talking about who's the loudest in the room. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about being civil. We're talking about using the tools that are before you for your advantage, so you can know how to understand. If you're in there and you're trying to get out and you go to the law library, maybe you become a paralegal. Maybe you can help others understand how the system works and stuff like that. Or Dad, maybe you know how to get a license. Maybe you can help others. Hey, look, man, if you really want to win in this system, when you hit the streets because you got a prison number, you're gonna need a driver's license. Well, I don't know nothing about how to get that. So you got to figure out, how do you overcome that? Maybe they took away your license, and that's a failure on your part because you were driving under suspension or whatever. Right?
So the second one we want to talk about, right, is along those lines. There are things that you failed at. So that means that you've got to activate fear. And that means face everything and recover. Not the fear that freezes you or causes you to run away or hide from your mistake, but instead activate the actual fear, the acronym, face everything and recover. So fight. Do the right thing, stand for righteousness. The second thing, so that's when it is either positional or it is situational, you want to fight. When it's personal, fear. Face everything and recover. Forgive yourself, forgive other people, move beyond it. That's the second one. The third one is to keep your
focus, because this is really important, because if you lose sight of what's vital for your family's legacy and you get distracted, right? Let's say you did have a victory in something and all of a sudden the lights are shining bright and you start to go towards the light versus stay on your path, right? Right? Well, now you're failing. Now you're missing it, because remember, there's 3 things that take down a man. Remember, right? Tyros, right? Fame and fortune will take you out. Money will take you out, and women will take you out. Stay focused, dads. Your family is crucial, and they're wanting you to position them to have victory in their lives, right?
So when you are focused on your journey, that is going to build the last one. It's going to help you build the last one, which is fortitude. Because when you're focused, then you're ready for the attack. You're ready for the obstacle to show up. You're prepared. You know that you have what it takes to overcome it. But when things hit you, when you're not paying attention, that's when you're most likely to be taken out. But as you keep that focus going and you build fortitude, right? And fortitude is the strength of will, mind, and emotion, where you can actually face adversity and come out stronger on the other side. So instead of that adversity taking you out, right, or making you weaker, it actually causes you to rise up and become even stronger. Think like the Hulk, right?
Right. Now listen, there's going to be things in your life that you're going to qualify as adversity, but they're really not. You're gonna maybe you look at the parole officer when you get home, or the person that's in charge over you, and you might see them as the adverse in your life, or the adversity in your life. But their job is not to be that. Their job is to make you better, to hold you accountable. And so when you embrace that type of schooling and you embrace it, man, it's not going to take you out. It's going to make you stronger. But it's when you resist the lesson that's coming that you fail personally, because you didn't acquire the things you were supposed to get in that experience.
So we have to take another short break, but when we come back, we're going to wrap it all up for you with our final segment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
TYRO Dads will help you to see who you really are on the inside by coming to terms with your past, present, and future. You'll begin to move forward by using your time on the inside to transform yourself. We know you're not the only one serving time. Your family is too. Overcoming the issues that existed prior to and during incarceration are often more than what many families can survive. TYRO Dads has a unique method of reaching and healing families based on Ron and Cathy Tijerina's own personal experiences. TYRO Dads works exclusively with incarcerated fathers who have minor children. The program lasts for 10 weeks and focuses on intensive character development. You'll be taught to take responsibility for your actions. To own it, you'll be prepared to overcome the obstacles of incarceration and transition back into your home and community, both successfully and permanently. Upon successful completion of this program, you will earn the title of TYRO, which means a warrior, someone learning something new. You will be one of the honored, a man worth following. If you think you have what it takes to be a TYRO, or you want to know more, contact your local project facilitator or your institution staff.
Welcome back to TYRO TV. I'm Ron Tijerina.
And I'm Cathy Tijerina.
And today we've been having a wonderful, wonderful discussion talking about failing but not falling, or staying down, and not
right.
Failing and falling but not staying down.
Or failing and getting back up.
Let's
just say it that way.
All right.
And so we want to encourage you to get up.
Get up.
Get up. I don't care whether your failure has been personal, whether it's positional, or whether it's situational. Enough. Get up. Stop wallowing in self-pity. Stop blaming everybody else. Your kids are counting on you, Dad. And let that be the strongest word that you hear today. You are sitting there, you're feeling sorry for yourself. You're feeling like, well, there's no point, and you can never overcome it, and everybody's against you, and everything's against you. Your kids are better off without you, and that is a lie. Your children need you, and they need you to lead well. Get up and keep going.
You know, when we think about failure, what Cathy's talking about is that you created the victim mentality. And you're walking around with the cloud over your head that is, woe is me attitude, right? You know what? When you experience that and you're giving that out, man, misery loves company. You're going to find people that will feed that type of attitude and experience that you're having.
Just stay down, man. You know what? She's just going to keep treating you like that. She's going to keep saying that stuff about, you know what? Just wait till your kids are 18. Let them connect with you on their own. Stop that.
Don't listen to that. Don't listen to them. Those individuals have experienced it, and they don't see no future in their future, right? But so you got to surround yourself with people who have fallen but have gotten back up, and you got to ask them, man, what did you do? How did you get back up? You know, you had this happen to you, but no one can tell. You can't tell I did 15 years in the state penitentiary, 2 years up parole. We've been married 32 years, and I tell you what, this is not easy. We work hard for our marriage. We work hard for our success each and every day. Haters, HATERs, having anger towards everyone who reaches success. Listen, let them be your motivators, but don't let them fuel the reason why you want to stay down.
Right. Don't let them add to your excuse, right? So enough. So we talked about the 4 things that you need to do. And the first one was fight. And we don't mean physical fist fight. We mean fight. Strengthen your mind, your will, your emotions, and decide that you are going to continue to do the right thing no matter what. You're fighting for your
So
legacy.
let me give you a quick example. So you're a dad, you're a parent, you need some skills to be a better parent. Read a book.
Right.
Right?
So fight to gain information. And the second one is when there's a personal failure, fear, face everything and recover. The third one.
Third one is situational, right? Situational.
No, the third one is focus.
Oh, I'm sorry. Focus, right. So focus on your path that you're on right now. Don't let somebody distract you and persuade you. You know what? Hey, we got this happening over here. Hey, this is happening over here. Quit running to all those things, man. When you hear the sirens over there, you see the light over there, don't run. Stay focused.
And the final one?
And the final one is fortitude. That means you don't run, man. You don't run away from something that's going to make you better. And you don't find excuses to blame others for your failure. When you have fortitude, when you're walking with resolute,
that's right. That means you recognize your weaknesses, you recognize your shortcomings, but you don't just make excuses for them. You find ways to improve and make yourself better and overcome that weakness. Don't keep doing what you've always done before. It's not who you are. It's time to rise up, Dad, be the best dad you can, the most powerful dad you can, and lead your children into a legacy defined by hope, peace, and righteousness for generations to come.
Right where you're at. There's no excuse why you cannot begin to create a powerful, strong legacy even behind those walls right now. You know, people are counting on you. They're watching you. You're watching this show. You might be taking notes down, or maybe you're afraid people around you are going to say something if you start to practice these principles.
So no more being weak. Time to rise up, Dad. So we hope that today you learned something that's going to help you on your journey towards becoming a better dad, a better citizen, and your transition back home and into your children's lives.
Thank you for letting us be part of your journey. Until next time, always remember that we are rooting for you.